Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Inside the Den. Now today we're going to take a look at Rusty Hearts, and this is a free-to-play action beat-em-up MMO. Pretty cool, just came out recently, and let's get started. So as you can see, we're already at our character selection screen. You do choose, you can see at the top I've chosen West, you choose a couple different server types, and then you choose channels, stuff like that. So you got, right now it's actually only 3 playable characters. The last character, this one, Natasha, is not available yet. But as you can see, they've got the jiggle mechanics in there. So if you want, you could just sit here for a while and just get mesmerized by the jiggle or by her throwing her hair around. We're not going to do that. Basically, it's unfortunate because we can't even double click and see basically what type of character she's going to be. But if we go to the previous screen and we take a look, we can see she's got a pistol in her hand. So it looks like she's going to be a range type DPS. And then the other characters, we've got Tood, which now it's kind of a weird character creation screen in my mind. Because you have to go all the way in to really see what type of character he is. Now you can see he's got this little thing on this hand and stuff like that. So we can go in, hit create character, actually double click it, and then we can see his backstory and stuff like that. We can see what type of weapons he uses. Starts out with gauntlets, and then at 10 he has claws available to him. So let's go to the previous screen, go back. Let's take a look at each of these real quick. You got Angela, and you got her story. And you've got her weapon, magic sword or scythe at level 10. And then go back one more time, and we've got Franz. And there he is. And you can see I actually have a level 8 character of this type. It's pretty cool. He basically, he's kind of your tank type. You can see right here his defenses are high, he uses a sword, and then later on an axe. He does pretty good damage. We're going to go back, and we're going to actually choose Angela. And we're going to create a character, and like you saw with Franz, you can see her attack range is good because she's got these long type weapons. She does really good damage. So she's essentially your close range, or not really, kind of your mid-range DPS, I could say. So now the extent of the character creation is pretty much this. That's it. You looked at them, you create a character, and we're done. So you don't get to do any customization, but that's not really that big of a deal. Once you get in the game, you're able to actually customize with items and costumes and stuff like that. You actually have two different slots. So we're going to actually skip the tutorial, and I'm going to tell you why. There's a lot of cutscenes in the tutorial, and it's going to hinder me from being able to show you guys a lot of different stuff, but I highly recommend you play the tutorial. It explains a lot of the basic stuff, like, you know, your attacks and jumping around and moving around and stuff like that. So I'm going to suggest that you guys play the tutorial, but I'm not going to actually play the tutorial. I'm just going to skip right past it and jump right into the game. So now the game is essentially instance-based. You can go in, you can group up with other players, go into different instances, very much like other beat-em-up games that are out there on the market, like Dungeon Fighters Online is a great example of another game similar to this. So let's get through these little things. So now the game recently announced that it has full capabilities for using the gamepad. You also have the keyboard availability to move around. You can see even though I skipped the tutorial, I'm still getting basic controls. So you move around with the arrow keys to talk or activate. We're just going to come up to this character, and we can go through the different options. We can chat, or we can do a quest, meet Vincent. So let's do the quest. Let's hit all through these, and you can read the story. You can see down in the bottom right, she pops up. Enter through, no, not at all, so on and so forth. You guys can read all this. There's some pretty good humor in there. Obviously, this is a perfect world entertainment game, so the translations are really good because, you know, they're not a U.S. company, but they do have offices in the United States, so they don't mess around when it comes to this stuff. So let's get through all this and move on. You can see in the hotbar, I've already got a couple skills already equipped. Now, what's difficult is I can't even get out of here until I get all the way through. So let's take a look at the skills we have. So we have Wall of Fire, throws down a wall, knocks enemies into the air, and then Magic Missile, so you can do some ranged action. So your basic attack is X, and then as you can see, these get assigned to keys in kind of your middle row of your keyboard. And you can see right there some stuff as far as those controls. So let's complete and cruise over here to Vincent. Now you can use Q or E to rotate around your character. So as you're running, if you like kind of being able to run straight ahead or turn things around. And as you can see, like I was talking about, even in the other tutorial, there's, you know, just cutscenes galore. The game does a really good job with these cutscenes to explain the story and have different stuff going on. So let's complete that, and let's go talk to him. Now once you get close, all you gotta do is hit X, and you do talk to him, and then meet Vincent. Let's complete that. Well met, so on and so forth. We get a little bit of experience. Now leveling up is, I wouldn't say it's fast. I would say it's probably on the moderate side. The game does have items you can get to where you can double experience and things like that. But for the most part, you're pretty much just gonna take and you know, level up normally. Once you do start going into the dungeons or the instances, you'll take and you'll start having the option. You'll clear the first, you'll see that in a second, you'll clear the first level at normal, and then you'll be able to move on to the hard, very hard. And then they have one that I've seen called BL, but I'm not sure like if it's blood level or something like that. So I'm not exactly sure what BL is, but because I haven't gotten that far in the game. So maybe one of you guys in the comments can tell us exactly what BL is. So here we go. We've got the option for right now just the canals B3, and then you can see as you move through, and these do have level ranges. But usually once you get through each of these, then these other ones open up. So let's go ahead and head in here. You see right now, because we haven't completed it, we cannot actually go up. But let's jump in there, and we're going to go ahead and start to see some of the action. Now the game is just like any other game. It's got a rating system, you know, the SSS down to A, B, C, D, E, F. But it's cool here, over here on the right hand side, you can see stylish. Damage hits are when you take damage. You can see actually your progressive rank. So as you're progressing through, you can see what your rank is. Now once we're in here, we can't use the camera to kind of rotate around. We've got to stay in kind of the style of so let's start taking these guys out. And it's always advantageous to use your skills, because the more you use your skills, the more you're going to take these guys out a lot faster. And also it helps you to get your rank higher. So it's really advisable to use your skills when you're playing games like this. Many of you guys already know that. So we're just going to cruise through here, start taking these guys out real quick. The nice thing is they're nice and easy. Even though I don't have an upgraded weapon yet, they go down pretty quick. So you can see the game drops health and mana potions, so you can take and keep those nice and high. Now I don't know exactly. Like I said, I haven't played this character yet, so I don't know if as you level up, if you start to throw out additional magic missiles. All I know is with Franz, he takes in, he gets some pretty cool skills. Now Angela can do a little roll. He's able to do like a little teleportation because he's actually a vampire, which is kind of a cool little skill if you ask me. Let's throw these guys around. Start pulling out a magic missile, and it looks like we got some Prelic armor. So let's open this up, and we can see this is our inventory. We've got our equipment screen, we've got consumables, we've got other, which are these Wiseman stones for upgrading items. Then you got quest items, and then you've got your costume. So let's see, this is better magic defense or physical defense. Looks a little bit better, so we're going to go ahead and equip it. Now one thing you'll see is that your character doesn't change much until you actually put on the costume gear. So that's one thing that's kind of disappointing, is that you see a lot of people running around with that same gear kind of look, I guess you could say, just because the game does not have a very in-depth system as far as that style or armor, you know, changing your look. Now what happens later on in the game, I'm not sure because I'm not that far. Maybe some of you guys that have gotten to be able to tell me. So looks like we got a hit point potion drop. Now the game does have different quests. As you can see, this quest that I'm on right now is actually meant for to take out the boss of the zone, and later on with the that essentially are everything from taking out the boss in the zone to going and getting X number of items to these big ones that are like kill 500 skeletons, and you'll just take those out over the course of time. So, but here comes the red skeleton. Pretty cool, all the little animations. I have yet to see a zone that I go into or an instance that I go into that there isn't a cool animation or anything like that when you do get to the boss area. So a lot of time and effort is put into that stuff, which, you know, as a gamer, anytime there's a high level of time and effort put into little things like showing off a boss, just with a little cutscene like that, it's highly appreciated. Now, one thing I can tell you is I haven't gotten any yet in this instance. Let's see, did we get one there? Nope, we got a hand magic sword and then something else. Oh, actually I did. I just got a bronze card. So now the bronze cards, it's something that I'll explain once we get 2 seconds till we get to the screen. You can see they pile up here. Now, you can get bronze, you can get I believe the next level is gold. I haven't seen one, so I can't say for sure that it is. But what happens is once you get into this next section, it's basically your item redemption area. So you please select a card. Now you have 8 opportunities to get bronze or silver cards when you do go through an instance. Now, the more cards you get, the better chance you have of one of these being a decent item that you can actually use. So we're going to select that right there. We got 7 gold. Now I can spend 40 gold and choose a different card, and I'm running out of time. So I'm just going to hit OK. Now you see, because that bronze card, this tether mail was put right there. So essentially what you want to do is you want to try and collect as many of those cards as possible, because what that's going to do is going to give you the best chance to get gear when you're inside of, or when you get to the end of the zone. So let's go back to town, let's turn in our quest, and look at some of the other interface options before we have to take off. So it's not this guy, so we can bring up our map, and when you look on your map, you can see who your quest givers are and who you have to hand quests into. You can see you've got a second section here. Before we get there, we have to complete all the quests in this first area. So we'll get to about here, and they'll lock us down. They won't even let us go through. And you can see you've got your little index of what's going on. And the cathedral area is the next area once you get past all of that. So let's cruise over here and go and hand in our quest, and that'll open up a bunch of other quests for us. Now you can see down on the bottom right, we've got a few different things. You've got our cash box. It's pretty cool, like, to minimize the interface. Like, you have character, but then you have all your different character options, and you can see you've got, you know, your skill list and stuff like that. And you can see here they are, the different skills that you have, and then you can see you've got different skills that you've got, like your mid-air dash. So when you're in mid-air and you double dash and stuff like that, and then additional skills will start to show up. So here's my special, and eventually buffs, and then you've got some passive skills here that essentially are on all the time. So let's cruise over here, and then a weird key, for me at least, as far as the quest tracker, is Y. You can see there's our quest, there's exactly what we got, and we're going to head over here, turn that quest in, and actually pick our gear that we want. So it looks like we can actually pick up plate, which is kind of interesting, but let's go ahead and complete the quest. Okay, confirm, and we're going to get a new quest. There we go. Let's bust through this real quick. So you could just kind of enter your way through, and you'll actually end up picking up everything and getting the quest. So there we go. We equip that. We got a magic sword for Angela. Damage 18 to 20, so it's better than what we have. So we changed. Now that's one place you see the sword is actually changing as we're changing it out. So you do start to see some equipment changes. Like I said, it's not all, but some equipment does change. You can see, like, I put those boots on and those didn't change. I still got my normal shoes. So let's change out the weapon. And let's cruise over here. It looks like we've got another storyline quest, if I'm not mistaken. So let's bring up the map. Yep, it's STO. So you got your storyline quest right over here. So let's close that out. Let's turn around and go talk to this guy, pick up that quest. And you can see this is also our skill trainer. So we go to we can pick up Windy Blast. Let's learn that. Yep, we want to learn that, and it'll automatically assign to our hotkeys. So we do have a new skill, a Blast of Windy Gust, slowing adversaries down, and it also does magic damage. So let's see if we've got any in these other sections. Nope, not yet. But you can see, you go to them, you can see what level they come into play at, So we could take it at level 7, we can upgrade our magic missile. At level 8, we get a fireball, 6 tornado, and so on and so forth. So it's pretty cool. You can go in there, you can see the skills that are coming up, and also see the skills that you have and when they upgrade. So as we all know, upgrading skills is very important to any game as you progress through. So let's join the militia, clear subterranean canal B3 on hard or higher. So as you saw, like, I cleared it already. So now I'm going to be able to go back in and I'm going to be able to do that section on hard level. So we don't have any other quests. So let's start cruising over this way. And now the game's really funny. Like, the different characters that you could have picked will interact with each other throughout the course of the game. They'll just take and essentially you'll just see these pop-ups and they'll be talking to each other, and they'll basically be talking about like NPCs that you already interacted with or different things like that. So here we are, hard. You may use as many resurrection scrolls as you have available, difficulty, blah, blah, blah. Now, one thing that's really cool is as you play the harder levels, it's definitely worth it to play them, especially if, you know, if they're too hard, getting groups and stuff like that, or you can go back and do them solo, whatever. But it's definitely worth it because when you go through them, the harder the monsters, the more, at least what I've noticed, the more the bronze and the silver cards tend to drop. So it basically just means that when you go through those, you're gonna have a higher chance of actually getting some loot. So let's try this blast. There was our blast. Knocking these guys around. And we got our new sword, so these guys seem to be getting around even faster than they did before. So especially since we've got this new skill, and as you can see, I just dropped this cracked augmented pebble. So now we can go in here and let's bring up our character. What is it? I don't remember our character sheet. L. So weird, some of these. So now we can bring this over here, and this little thing is kind of cool because we can just drop it on there, and it's going to enchant it. So right now there's nothing. And we drop it on there. Physical damage +1. Physical damage and magic damage +1. So very advantageous for you to use those as you're cruising through the different levels. So let's get all these guys together, see how big of a wiggy blast we can do. So that was pretty awesome. Just took all those guys out. So got this guy a couple of shots and be out for the count. And we can move on. There we go. Stage cleared. And that's one thing too that really can be used to your advantage, is getting as many of the monsters as close together as possible. So there we go. But she seems to have a little bit of a longer cooldown on her skills than Franz does. Not a big deal. It's just something to pay attention to. Her magic missiles seem to take off in all kinds of different directions, and then they seem to circle around and head back towards the actual monster. So, fortunately, we're not getting any cards yet, so I'm really hoping to get some of those. Because, like I said, that really is the big way to get gear at the end. And you still have to get pretty lucky. So it's not one of those things that's just guaranteed. So I think that's kind of cool that you actually have to get lucky with that stuff. And speaking of the devil, he just dropped a bronze card for me. So we can get up and we can open up chests. And there will be different chests throughout as you're cruising through these different levels. And you definitely want to get them open because they always drop pretty decent gear. So there's another bronze card. And there we're starting to get some gold and another bronze card. So we've got 3. So really upping our chances to be able to actually get some solid gear when it comes to the end and we take out this boss. So I know I'm putting a lot of emphasis on that, but I think it's a really cool feature. I don't know, it's kind of like, you know, a level of roulette, I guess you could say, when it comes to the end. So, and because we already saw the cutscene, it doesn't show the cutscene yet. So let's get in here. This guy as fast as possible. So we got 1 more bronze card, so we're gonna have 4 opportunities. And you can see if you take the boss out, it automatically takes out all the minions. So you don't have to keep fighting once you take the boss out. So let's see if we can get lucky and actually get a piece of gear here. So But graphically wise, I mean, I think they did a really good job with setting the tone. The graphics, it's a different style. So it's added a bronze card because I just defeated on hard, so I really have a good chance now. But like I was saying, the game did a really good job of creating a style and running with it. And of course, I picked one of the ones with gold. So there are all the items that I could have picked, and of course, I didn't get any of them. But that's alright. Let's go back to town. But like I was saying, graphically the game does a really good job of creating a style, running with it. It is a different style than basically pretty much any other game that's out on the market right now. Sound-wise, the sound effects are really well done. There's always music playing, and the music definitely sets kind of a level of ambiance. You know, you kind of got this cross between Gothic and fantasy, kind of a Cthulhu style, I guess you could say, as far as the game is concerned. But it does a really good job of setting the tone for that style with both the art style, the graphics, and the sound. So if that's something that you really appreciate, then that's something you're like. Interface-wise, definitely easy to use interface. It is kind of a disappointment to me, at least a little bit, that as you equip gear, at least most gear, that doesn't change your look. So you have a lot of cookie cutter looking characters running around, like you saw when I was over here. There was another Angela sitting there, basically looked identical to me and stuff like that. You can see right here you do have an auction house, so you can go in there and look for items. You also have your room, which has its own storage and things like that. So if you have certain items you want to save, you can put them in your room. But I am out of time. I hope you guys enjoyed today's trip inside the den. Don't forget to subscribe and keep yourself updated as each new episode is released. If you'd like to play or learn more about Rusty Hearts, you can read our full review at MMODen.com or just click the link in the description. Till next time, thanks for watching.